Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what you're truly chasing in life? Maybe it's a budding relationship, a shiny new degree, or that corner office position you've had your eye on. These are great goals to have, no doubt. But let me ask you this: where does God fit into your plans? I want to share something crucial with you. None of these pursuits really mean a thing if we're not putting God first in our lives. You could land your dream job, build the perfect family, and buy all the gadgets your heart desires, but without God, they don't add up to much. Now, think about this. All these achievements and relationships, as great as they are, might still leave you feeling a bit empty inside if you're missing one key element: God's presence. It's like having a well-decorated room with no foundation. Sure, it looks good, but it won't stand firm when the storms hit. You see, we were created in the image of God by Him and for Him. That's a big deal. It means that our ultimate fulfillment can only come from our Father, not from other people or from the temporary things we accumulate. No matter how much we gather or achieve, without that connection to God, it all feels a bit hollow. So why not prioritize the pursuit of His presence in your life? There's absolutely no shame in having nice things or in achieving success, but it's crucial not to let those things overshadow what really matters. They should not take up the space meant for something or someone greater. Let's dive into a story from the Bible, from Matthew 19. A rich man comes to Jesus and asks what he needs to do to gain eternal life. Jesus tells him to keep the commandments. The man says he has done so, but wonders what he still lacks. Jesus then advises, if you want to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. This wasn't the answer the rich man hoped for. He went away sad because he was not willing to give up his wealth. Here, Jesus wasn't just challenging the rich man, he was making a point relevant to all of us. It's not that Jesus was against wealth, but he was cautioning against allowing wealth to become a barrier between us and God. Jesus' response highlights a powerful truth. It's not wrong to have wealth, but it becomes a problem if we think wealth alone will make us happy or fulfilled. The real issue arises when we hold on to our money so tightly that we're not willing to let it go for something far more valuable, like following Jesus. Now, put yourself in that rich man's shoes for a moment. If Jesus asked you to give up everything you have, what would your answer be? It's a tough question, isn't it? This is where you find out where your true loyalty lies. Take a good look at your life and ask yourself what you are really pursuing. If it's not God, then maybe it's time to rethink that list of priorities. Life is unpredictable, and we're not guaranteed a later. Don't wait until it's too late to start focusing on what's genuinely important. Remember, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. It's about giving God His rightful place at the top of your list. Even if it seems daunting, you're not alone in this journey. Many have faced this challenge before, like the disciples, and found their strength in faith. So let's step into this together, reorganizing our lives around what truly matters. What you say? Making God's presence your primary pursuit. It's quite the undertaking, and as we discussed, not something you can manage on your own. You'll need to lean heavily on God, asking Him to rearrange your priorities, putting Him right at the top. Now, Let's say you've done this. You've prayed and sincerely asked God for His guidance and support. You feel His presence beside you, emboldening you, reassuring you that all things are possible with His aid. But what comes next? How do you actually live out this commitment day by day? First off, you're going to have to start saying no to some things. Not everything that's fun or popular is going to help you on this path. Sometimes, to stay true to this pursuit of God, you'll find yourself having to be the odd one out. That's not easy. Nobody likes to feel left out or seen as the party pooper. But remember, pursuing God's presence often requires us to make choices that aren't easy. Look at Jesus. He was God Himself, yet He chose to come to earth as a mere man and endured unimaginable hardships, all to save us. He was mocked, beaten, and ultimately crucified. Despite all this, He never once strayed from His path. He remained humble through it all. He humbled Himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Philippians 2, verse 8. That's the level of humility and dedication we're talking about. Not that you'll be asked to sacrifice your life, but that you should be ready to sacrifice your pride and some of your desires to maintain your focus on God. Just as Jesus did, you might face ridicule or rejection for your beliefs. It's not easy to stand firm when others are not understanding or supportive of your spiritual goals. And remember, it's not just about avoiding the big, obvious sins. Pride can sneak up on you. It can be as simple as wanting to always be right or wanting to be seen and admired by others. This can be just as much a barrier between you and God as anything else. In Hebrews 12, verse 1, it says, "Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." This is your race, your spiritual journey, and it's important to keep it free from distractions. This race analogy is quite fitting. Think of it as a long-distance run. You can't complete a marathon by sprinting full speed right out of the gate or by stopping every few minutes to check if your shoelaces are tied perfectly. Similarly, in your spiritual journey, you can't spend all your time obsessing over the small stuff or burning yourself out with intense bursts of spiritual activity that leave you exhausted. Instead, keep a steady pace. Draw encouragement from the Bible, from prayer, and from fellow believers. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith, Hebrews 12, verse 2. He's not just a distant figure to be admired. He's a source of ongoing support and inspiration. And there will be times, surely, when you might not feel God's presence. You'll pray and feel like your words are bouncing off the ceiling. Don't get discouraged during these dry spells. These are the moments when it's crucial to keep pushing forward, to keep running the race, even when the finish line seems far away. Beloved, as you consider rearranging your life to make God your top priority, remember, this isn't a sprint. It's more like a marathon. A marathon where endurance, humility, and a steady, unwavering focus on Jesus will guide you home. Remember, consider Him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Hebrews 12, verse 3. Your journey is tough, no doubt, but oh, how glorious the finish line will be. So let's keep talking about this journey you're on. When you find yourself feeling distant from God, or when life throws obstacles in your path, it's crucial not to get discouraged. Keep your focus on the ultimate prize, a place with God, which is far more valuable than anything else you could achieve or own here on earth. Remember, every challenge is just a part of the journey, not the end of the road. Sometimes, when God feels far away, the best thing you can do is take a walk outside. Have you ever noticed how the simple act of being in nature can lift your spirits? Next time you feel alone, step out and take a deep breath. Look around at the trees, the sky, the way the light shifts throughout the day. All these beautiful details are not just parts of nature, they're reflections of God's presence. They're reminders that He's always around, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Think back to a time when you felt God's presence strongly. What was happening? How did it feel? Reflecting on these moments can reignite that sense of closeness with God. Maybe it was a time when you overcame a big challenge, like finding a new job after a tough loss. These memories are beacons of hope, showing that God has been with you through tough times before, and He's not about to start leaving you now. Now, dealing with a breakup or any heartache can make it especially hard to feel God's presence. It's all too easy to get caught up in the pain and feel like you're walking this path alone. But remember how God brought you through past troubles. Just as He helped you then, He will help you now. Hold on to that trust and let it guide you forward. Keep pursuing Him day by day. No matter the struggles, don't lose sight of that finish line, eternal life with God. This race isn't about speed, it's about endurance, about keeping your eyes up and your heart open, no matter how tough things get. So lace up your spiritual sneakers and let's keep running this race together.